I was given an infertility drug by a woman outside. This child is my only remaining bloodline in this world. In my previous life, I exhausted my entire dowry to pave the way for this child, spending a fortune to raise this ungrateful viper. In the end, I died on the wedding day of that bastard's son. My life was taken by a cup of poison tea he handed me himself. Dying in agony with my organs rotting, I realized the infertility drug was a lie. It was all a trick to force me into giving his mistress and child a position in our household. I opened my eyes and returned to the day he introduced the child. This child's name is Xiao Qingyan. If you don't acknowledge him, my branch of the family will truly lose its lineage. In my previous life, because I hadn't conceived, I always felt I owed him something. I not only helped him hide the scandal of keeping a mistress, but also knelt in the ancestral hall for 3 days and nights, begging the elders to fulfill his wish. To think I ended up with such a fate. Husband, acknowledging a child is a major matter. The court values an official's private morality above all. If the censors catch wind of this, do you still want your official position? Madam, he is but a child. We can just acknowledge him behind closed doors. There's no need to make a scene. For the sake of your future, this matter absolutely cannot be handled privately. We must invite the clan elders to preside, and openly open the ancestral hall to verify his identity. According to the rules of our Xiao clan, only after his identity is proven can he be recorded under my name. As a legitimate son, he will then be eligible for education and promotion. Don't you agree? Of course he's afraid. Once it's made public, his scandalous secret can no longer be hidden. Open the clan hall in 3 days. Before his identity is cleared, serve him according to the rules for legitimate sons. We must not mistreat the child. I have a bit of a headache. It's decided then. Since the heavens have let me live again, I will never wrong myself again for a single moment. I want them to taste the feeling of a life worse than death. Steward Shui, go to the accounting room early tomorrow morning. Bring the general and itemized accounts for the last 5 years to the warm pavilion for me. Then, go investigate the child's background, even the alley where he was born, and whoever delivered him, turn everything upside down to find out, and find a way to get me a real infertility drug. One that severs a lineage so completely that not even a god could save it. Since Xiao Jingheng likes to pretend to be sterile, I'll make his dream come true in this life. For these 3 days, I personally supervised the kitchen, mixing that colorless and tasteless powder into every bowl of tonic Xiao Jingheng drank daily. This child's origin is unknown. Calling everyone here today. If there is no solid proof, the Xiao clan's genealogy is not for just anyone to join. Second elder, please witness. This is indeed my flesh and blood. I dare to swear before the ancestral tablets. If I lie, may heaven strike me down. Seeing this, I took a small step forward. Uncles and elders, I can understand my husband's fatherly love, but this matter is of great significance. If it's settled hastily based on my husband's word alone, should an imperial censor find out later and say our Xiao family is confusing its bloodline, my husband's future would be completely ruined. In my opinion, we should follow the rules handed down by our ancestors and perform a blood-dripping kinship test. Madam, what is the meaning of this? Husband, this is for the child's own good. By acknowledging the relationship publicly today, no one will be able to use it against you in the future. If he truly is of the Xiao bloodline, as the legitimate wife, I will naturally raise him with every care and affection. With these words spoken openly, Xiao Jingheng had no way to refute. Under the gaze of the elders, he could only force himself to agree. Subsequently, I personally got up to take the white porcelain bowl that was brought out. Using my sleeve as cover, I took the aged vinegar I had prepared hidden under my fingernails and silently smeared it on the inside of the bowl's bottom. Xiao Jingheng gritted his teeth and squeezed out a drop of blood. Xiao Qingyan's finger was pricked with a needle. Everyone's eyes were fixed intensely on the bowl on the table. Incredibly, the child's blood didn't mix. He's not biological. The second elder stood up abruptly, shaking with rage. Xiao Jingheng was struck as if by lightning. He lunged forward to the table. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. Someone has tampered with this water. You bastard. Then, he struck Xiao Jingheng's back with heavy, ruthless blows. With so many eyes watching, the water was prepared by the manor and the bowl came from the ancestral hall. How dare you bring a bastard to defile the Xiao family name? Are you trying to make our family the laughingstock of the capital? Watching Xiao Jingheng's miserable grimace, I couldn't help but feel a surge of satisfaction. But this is just the interest. His life and his future. I will crush them into dust with my own hands, bit by bit. He gritted his teeth, looked up, and glared at me. I sat calmly in the armchair nearby, watching this show, sneering in my heart. This is only the beginning. The main players haven't all arrived yet. I stood up slowly, forcing out 2 tears. Husband, how could you take a bastard of unknown origin to deceive me? I know you are usually a righteous man. You surely wouldn't do something as shameful as confusing bloodlines. It must be that woman outside, so promiscuous, that she played you. Where is that woman now? Since she ran away with the child back then? Why did she wait until you were without an heir to suddenly send the child back so eagerly? Warner knows her status is lowly. She didn't dare ask for a title. She left right after delivering the child. I truly don't know where she went. To not know the origin of this woman. She almost ruined 100 years of the Xiao family's purity. Her heart is so malicious. If we don't investigate, who knows what disaster will strike us in the future. Elders, I embolden myself to request tonight. That woman must be found immediately. Only by a face-to-face confrontation can we clear up the truth behind this child. We cannot let our Xiao family be taken for such huge fools. Exactly, we must drag her out. Xiao Jingheng's face turned pale instantly. No, she is just a weak woman. The world is so big. Where would we even look? It's simply a waste of effort. He truly won't give up until he sees the coffin. I tilted my head slightly and gave a signal to the servant outside the door. In less than half an hour, the heavy wooden doors of the ancestral hall were pushed open violently from the outside. 2 old maids, dragging a woman like a dead dog, threw her inside. She slumped on the floor, looking around in terror. Once she saw the kneeling Xiao Jingheng, she scrambled over to him. Lord, save me. Cruel people wanted to kill me. The moment Su Wanner appeared, the entire hall was in an uproar. Shameless. I stood up slowly and elegantly, walking toward the frozen Xiao Jingheng. Husband, didn't you just say finding her would be a waste of effort? How is it that she was right there in the small house in the alley behind our manor? Xiao Jingheng's mouth hung open. He couldn't utter a word for a long time. The child, seeing Su Wanner, broke free from the servants while crying, and lunged into her arms. Mother, I'm scared. There are tablets of dead people everywhere. I'm scared. The elders' faces had turned as dark as they could be. Lord, you didn't lie. Qingyan is truly your flesh and blood. If you all don't believe me, I'm willing to kill myself right now before these ancestors to prove my innocence. Xiao Jingheng was scared out of his wits, holding her tightly in his arms, his eyes turning red with pity. Suddenly, he turned around and glared at me fiercely. It was you. It must have been you who tampered with the water earlier. Jealous and dishonest, you just don't want this child to enter our home, do you? I pretended to be frightened and took half a step back. Husband, how can you slander me like this? Fine. Since you insist I tampered with it, then let's use the holy water offered before our ancestors' tablets in the hall to try one more time. That is something our ancestors watch over. No one can touch it. If the result is still the same, this child must be dealt with according to clan rules. If the result changes, then it clears my husband's name. It will prevent others from saying that I, the legitimate wife, cannot tolerate a child born of a concubine. Xiao Jingheng was like a drowning man grasping at a straw. Fine, we'll use the holy water. Second elder, please grant us this. Soon, a bowl of clear water was poured from the white porcelain jar before the ancestors' tablets and placed in the center of the table while everyone gathered around to look at the water. I lightly flicked my fingertip over the rim of the bowl. That powder was colorless and tasteless, dissolving instantly in water. I sneered in my heart, this time, the 2 drops of blood will definitely merge with this alum-treated water. Forget about being of the Xiao bloodline. Even if you just grabbed a random pig's head, the blood droplets would bond tightly together. Xiao Jingheng bit his finger again, and a drop of fresh blood fell. The blood drop landed in the bowl, ignoring the child's crying. He ruthlessly grabbed Xiao Qingyan's hand and pricked it. Once the 2 drops of blood entered the water, the 2 red spots completely merged into one. They really merged. Ha 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 ha. Second elder, uncles. Did you see? This is my seed. Our family's own flesh and blood. The elders looked at the bowl of merged blood, the gloom on their faces lifting slightly, but the doubt in their eyes didn't vanish entirely. After all, the scene 15 minutes ago was exactly the opposite. How strange. For a moment, Xiao Jingheng straightened his back. Stand up. His movements were so gentle they could drip with sweetness. He looked at me with a smile. Madam, the truth is out now. Although Wanner's background is lowly, she has provided an heir for our Xiao family. She is a credit to our household. I beg you to show mercy. Bring her into the manor as soon as possible. Give her a title, so that the child can properly acknowledge his ancestors and be recorded in the genealogy as our eldest legitimate son. Several elders exchanged glances, none of them speaking, just waiting to see my reaction. Xiao Jinghing's eyes were full of anticipation, even carrying a hint of provocation as he looked at me. My husband is quite right. Since this child really is of our Xiao bloodline, he naturally cannot be left to suffer outside. Since you want him to enter the family, then we shall bring him in. At this, Xiao Jinghing was overjoyed, about to open his mouth to thank me, but I raised my hand. However, did my husband forget the strict rules of our Xiao family recorded in history? If a child born of a secret mistress wants to return to the clan, his biological mother must be beaten to death. In the last life, I was your stepping stone. In this life, I will personally throw this stone right at your head. The moment the words secret mistress beaten to death came out, Su Wanner's crying was as if someone had grabbed her throat. It stopped abruptly. Su Wanner's eyes widened instantly, her delicate body shaking like a leaf. Xiao Jinghing was completely stunned just when the blood test had succeeded. Hearing this, he pointed at me in a rage. You poisonous woman. Wanner at least gave the Xiao family a son. Even if there's no merit, there was hard work. How can you be so cruel? Husband, where is this coming from? I didn't make this rule. It was our Xiao family ancestors who carved this lesson in blood and tears. I turned around, took a thick genealogy book from the side of the altar, and ran my fingers across the yellowed pages, stopping at one of them. Back then, the great ancestor's own brother kept a mistress outside. That woman, relying on the fact she had borne a son, ended up squandering the entire family fortune, causing total chaos in the household, and even led the great ancestor to be impeached by court officials, resulting in his removal from office. From then on, the Xiao family established this absolute rule, all to cut off the ambitions of those restless people, to prevent future trouble. Second elder, you are the elder in the clan who values rules the most. Don't you agree with what I've said tonight? There is indeed such a rule. Our Xiao family has stood in this capital for 100 years. By relying on strict family laws, we absolutely cannot let a lowly secret mistress ruin the reputation built by our ancestors. Correct. Rules are rules. We cannot make an exception since the bloodline has been verified. Then proceed according to clan law. Drag this woman out and beat her to death at the hall's gate. The child stays and will be raised as the legitimate son under the madam's name. Su Wanner turned deathly pale with fear. Lord, save me. I don't want to die. Qingyan is still so small. He can't be without his mother. Xiao Qingyan also began to howl and cry, his small hands clinging to Xiao Jinghing's legs. Xiao Jinghing was heartbroken, protecting mother and son behind him, glaring at the elders with bloodshot eyes. No. Wanner is devoted to me. If anyone dares to lay a finger on her, I'll fight them to the end. The second elder slapped the table in a rage. Presumptuous, Xiao Jinghing, do you still have any respect for the Xiao ancestors? For the sake of a woman, you dare defy family law? Seeing both sides at a stalemate, I spoke up at the right moment. Husband, since you cannot bear to lose Sister Su, then let's forget about acknowledging this child. I have always been generous anyway. Husband, it's no problem if you keep supporting them outside. Just don't bring them home to cause trouble. As long as it doesn't ruin your career. As soon as Xiao Jinghing heard this, his expression changed rapidly. He was hesitating, weighing his options. He certainly wasn't willing. He had gone through all this effort to bring the child back, not just for the sake of his bloodline, but to seize my massive dowry. He knew I owned dozens of prosperous shops. And that secret formula for fabric dye, that produces bright, permanent colors. Only after Xiao Qingyan became the legitimate son could he rightfully inherit all of this. Seeing his struggling expression, I added more fuel to the fire. Husband, you cried to me before, saying this woman was malicious and gave you an infertility drug, meaning you could never have children again. To prevent the Xiao lineage from ending, I reluctantly agreed to open the hall today, to give this only bloodline a status. Now it seems, toward the sister Su who poisoned you, you are quite devoted. Even the irreconcilable grudge of ending your lineage can be easily brushed aside. What? Infertility drug? The second elder stood up even more abruptly. Who was telling the truth? Did you take a sterilization drug for this harlot? Xiao Jinghing's face turned pale instantly. Stammering and unable to speak. He had originally made up the lie about the drug, just to trick me into being soft-hearted, to gain my sympathy, so that I would accept the child. He never imagined that I would expose this family scandal, right in front of all the clan elders. Su Wanner was scared out of her wits. No, I didn't. I never gave the Lord any drug. You're wronging me. Wronging you? My husband told me those words himself back then. I remember every single word clearly. Since Sister Sue says no, then for the sake of the Xiao family's eternal legacy, we must call a doctor today to see who exactly is lying. Without waiting for Xiao Jinghing to refuse, invite Imperial Physician Wang Diyuan from the ritual hall. Say the Marquis is unwell and ask him to make this trip. No need. Shen Qiu, why air such dirty laundry? I've been feeling much better these past 2 days. That drug was probably a weak dose. It's no big deal. Ridiculous. Do you think the Xiao family lineage is something you can just say is no big deal about? Today we will not only investigate but investigate thoroughly. If this woman really dared to poison you, don't wait for her to be beaten to death. I will send her to the authorities myself right now. Half an hour later, Physician Wang hurried over with his heavy medicine chest. He has a high reputation in the capital and is known for his integrity. Physician Wang, please examine my husband. A few days ago, he said he mistakenly took a potent sterilization poison. Please diagnose him to see if there's any cure. Physician Wang focused his mind, his withered fingers resting on Xiao Jinghing's pulse. Time passed bit by bit, and Physician Wang's brow furrowed deeper and deeper. Finally, Physician Wang withdrew his hand. This pulse indicates the energy and blood are in reverse. The essence is exhausted. He has indeed been poisoned by a potent lineage-severing powder. Furthermore, the toxin has already reached his marrow. No medicine can save him. I'm afraid he will never be able to father a child again in this lifetime. These words were like a thunderclap, crashing down on Xiao Jinghing's head. You're lying. You quack doctor. I never took any drug. How could I be sterile? Did this bitch Shen Qiu bribe you? Lord Xiao, watch your words. I have practiced medicine for 40 years. How could I make up such a thing? The poison in your body only took effect in the last 3 to 5 days. It's clear you've only recently ingested it. If you don't believe me, go to the Imperial Academy and invite my colleagues. If anyone says you can be cured, I will smash my medical sign on the spot. Xiao Jinghing was completely paralyzed, slumped on the floor like a puddle of mud. 3 to 5 days. That was exactly the time when he was in my room, drinking that carefully prepared tonic every single day. It wasn't like this. Unable to handle the blow, Xiao Jinghing was dragged and half-carried by servants to a chair. He stiffly turned his head to stare at Su Wanner hiding behind a pillar. He rushed over like a madman and grabbed Su Wanner's hair. Lord, I didn't. I was wronged. These past few days I've been locked up in that back alley. I couldn't even enter the manor's main gate. How could I have poisoned you? She looked at me, her eyes full of terror and begging. Madam, please say something for me. These past few days, the Lord has always been in your courtyard. How could I be the one who poisoned him? Enough. Xiao Jinghing, look at yourself now. Where is the dignity of a court official? Then, the second elder pointed at the shivering Su Wanner. Since this woman is so malicious as to end the Xiao family's bloodline, there's no need to wait any longer. Guards, follow the clan rules. Drag this mistress to the hall's gate and beat her to death immediately. And that bastard child, since he's illegitimate, dispose of him as well. We cannot let him live to confuse the Xiao bloodline. Several burly servants immediately surrounded them, carrying heavy wooden clubs in their hands. Looking at those clubs, Su Wanner was so terrified that she collapsed. No, stay away from me. Seeing a servant's hand about to grab her shoulder, she suddenly erupted with an astonishing strength, shoving away the servant beside her. She knelt on the ground, bowing her head urgently and begging, I confess. I confess. Don't kill me. The child is not the Lord's. Chua is not of the Xiao family. What did you say? I dare you to say that again, Lord. Chua really isn't your flesh and blood. Back then, to avoid the madam, you left me alone in Jiangnan. I couldn't stand the loneliness, so I had an affair with the second son of the Lu family in our hometown. Later I found out I was pregnant. That Master Lu refused to acknowledge us. I had nowhere else to go. Calculating the dates, it matched the time you spent in Jiangnan, so I came to the capital to find you. I beg you, don't kill me. The child belongs to the Lius, not the Xiaos. I didn't try to end the Xiao lineage. As soon as these words were spoken, the expressions of all the elders in the ancestral hall changed. The second elder was trembling with rage. You. Xiao Jinghing felt as if the bones had been pulled from his body. He had exhausted his schemes, not hesitating to ruin his reputation, not hesitating to fall out with the clan elders in the hall, only to find the child he thought was his only heir was actually someone else's bastard. This is impossible. Xiao Jinghing suddenly grabbed the white porcelain bowl. The 2 drops of blood merged together in the bowl, seemed exceptionally ironic under the dim candlelight. They merged just now. Shen Qiu, was it you? Did you switch the water in this bowl? Watching his crazed state, I felt an immense sense of satisfaction. The first blood test didn't merge because the heavens were watching. It really wasn't his seed. The second time it merged was because I added alum to the water. Forget Xiao Jinghing's blood. Even if the blood of a pig were put in with chingers, they would stick together tightly. I wanted to give him hope, only to let him smash it with his own hands. Hope followed by despair. How could you think that? This water is from the clan hall. It's holy water. With so many elders watching, how could I, a woman, have the power to tamper with it? If you want to hate this woman for deceiving you for years. Hate yourself for being blind. Raising someone else's bastard for 5 years. What a sin, truly a sin. The second elder looked at Xiao Jinghing with disgust. Men, beat this wretched mother and son to death with clubs. Throw them to the mass graves outside the city to feed the dogs. The Xiao family lineage is lost, but we cannot allow such filth to exist. The servants no longer had any reservations. Heavy wooden clubs struck flesh repeatedly. Yet they failed to evoke pity from anyone present. At this point, the resentment accumulated from my past life had finally mostly dissipated. Early the next morning, the news of Xiao Jinghing's scandal spread throughout the capital. Storytellers in tea houses narrated it vividly. Xiao Jinghing raised a bastard for another man. The keen-scented officials of the Imperial Academy had their impeachment memorials written before dawn, neatly arranged on the emperor's desk. Outrageous. Xiao Jinghing's moral failure brought shame to the court. An imperial decree was immediately issued to strip him of all honors, barring him from office forever and demoting him to a commoner. The Xiao family elders acted even faster to preserve the Xiao name. They opened the genealogy records overnight and struck off Xiao Jinghing's name with a single stroke. When Xiao Jinghing woke from his coma, he was no longer that spirited court official. He was just a man abandoned by his family, childless and heirless, a penniless vagrant. I wore a fiery red fox fur cloak and, surrounded by a group of maids and servants, slowly walked out of the main gate. Xiao Jinghing lay in the snow, shivering with cold. Seeing me come out, a spark of survival instinct flashed in his eyes. He crawled desperately to grab the hem of my skirt. Help me, madam. It was that bitch Warner who seduced me. I'm a victim too. For the sake of our years of marriage, give me a way to live. A way to live? In my past life, when I died of poison, he had stood before me just like this, watching my struggle with cold eyes. Once you're dead, Warner can come in. He coveted my dowry, exploited my family's influence, and finally wanted to use my life to pave the way for Su Warner. Xiao Jinghing. When you were keeping Su Warner outside, did you think about our marriage? When you forced me to acknowledge that bastard, did you think about my dignity? Then, I took out a piece of paper. This is a letter of annulment, and these are the lists of all the dowry from my Shen family. I have already reported it to the Shentian mansion. Your actions are on record. From now on, we have nothing to do with each other. As for my property, I have already had my brothers take people to your courtyard to remove everything. You won't get to keep a single thread. Xiao Jinghing looked at the annulment letter. His eyes completely filled with despair. He knew that without the financial support of my Shen family, he wouldn't even survive a winter night in the capital. Madam, you can't be this heartless. If I leave you, I will die on the streets. He cried out, trying to come forward and hug my legs. Get away with that filthy body of yours. You are not worthy of touching our madam. Sueju and the servants shoved him away. I turned and boarded the carriage. The heavy curtains blocked out the nauseating sound of his crying. Miss, where do we go next? Back to Jiangnan. The wind and snow in the capital are too dirty. We're going back to live a quiet life. 3 years later, Yongxin, Jiangnan, I took over several failing dye houses and renamed them Yunjiang Silk House. Relying on memories from my past life, I improved the dye formulas using a base of alum and vinegar. I added a few special types of wood ash. The silk dyed by my hand had a luster even more brilliant than the imperial tributes in the capital, and the color didn't fade even after 100 washes. In just 3 years, Yunjiang Silk House became the largest silk merchant in Jiangnan. Even the government manufacturing bureau had to buy from me. I was no longer a woman dependent on a man in the inner chambers. People called me Boss Shen. I heard news from the capital. After being dismissed and demoted, Xiao Jinghing fell ill from worry. And due to the toxin of the sterilization powder, his health declined day by day. Unable to stay in the capital, he begged his way south, intending to return to his hometown for support. Just as I was about to erase this name from my heart forever, a maid hurried in. Miss, a beggar forced his way in outside, refusing to leave no matter what. He says he has a huge secret to sell to you. I frowned, not wanting to deal with it, but the next words made me stop my pen. He said his surname is Xiao, and he is an old acquaintance of yours. Hearing footsteps, he struggled to lift his head. I stood about 2 yards away, looking at him coldly. Xiao Jingheng, you're actually not dead yet? Madam, oh, Boss Shen. If it wasn't for the sake of telling you this secret, personally, I would have rotted on the road south long ago. The once-spirited court official was now worse than a stray dog on the street. I pulled over a chair and sat down, looking down at him. Speak. What secret is worth crawling here with your last breath to find me? You thought Wanner was just an ordinary greedy woman? You were wrong. We were all wrong. Su Wanner was a shadow guard raised by the crown prince in Jiangnan. The person behind her is the one at the very top of power, back at the ancestral hall. I was also fooled by her story about the Lu family. It wasn't until later, when I was pursued by assassins sent by the crown prince, that I played dead in a mud pit. I overheard their conversation and finally learned the shocking conspiracy behind it all. Back then, the crown prince set up a private treasury and embezzled most of the salt and silk taxes in Jiangnan. Fearing exposure, he sent shadow guards like Su Wanner to specifically lurk around officials at all levels in Jiangnan. I was the pawn he chose to help him launder and transport ill-gotten wealth. Su Wanner was the eyes he kept on me, not just to monitor me, but also to, when necessary, completely control the Xiao family through the child. To turn the Xiao family into his money bag in Jiangnan. No wonder that child rose so quickly in my past life. No wonder Xiao Jingheng's career was so smooth. It turns out it wasn't about continuing the bloodline at all. They were going to swallow the Xiao family whole. And I, Shen Qingwan, was merely a pawn they used to deceive others, providing status and funds. Once I was used up, I was easily erased by that cup of poison tea. They didn't just want the child, they wanted his life. After the deaths of that child and Su Wanner at the ancestral hall, the crown prince feared I would leak his secrets and sent people to hunt me down all the way. So you're telling me all this now because you want me to help you get revenge? I have no right to ask you for revenge. I'm here to hand over the accounts. He shook, trembling as he took off his tattered cloth shoe, prying open the thick sole with his fingernails. From inside, he pulled out a stack of papers stained with dirt and smelling of sweat. This is the ledger of the crown prince's private treasury over the years, and several secret orders he wrote to Su Wanner himself. These are ironclad proofs of his framing of Jiangnan officials and embezzling funds for personal gain. I know you are now as wealthy as a nation, possessing manufacturing techniques that even the government fears. If these are handed to you, they can ensure your Shen family's eternal peace and bring that man in the high position down. For the sake of our past marriage, I beg you to spare the Xiao family roots. My parents are still in our hometown. They are innocent. I accept these things. As for the Xiao family roots, you, Xiao Jingheng, cut them yourself. Imperial physician Wang said it was an incurable condition. Throw him out. Miss, where should we throw him? Under the bridge by the roadside. Let him be. Yunzheng Silk House is a place for honest business. Don't let such an unlucky thing foul the storefront. I returned to the accounting room, looking at the ledger. Justice in this world is never something you wait for. It's something you fight for. Since the crown prince wants the wealth of Jiangnan, then I'll show him what wealthy as a nation truly means. And what it means to kill with a borrowed knife. Miss, this really is the crown prince's lifeline. If we keep it like this, and if news leaks out, I fear the entire Shen family will be buried with it. I flipped to one of the pages, looking at the recorded flow of salt taxes. This is not just the crown prince's death warrant, but also our Shen family's ladder to the top. In my past life, the crown prince used Xiao Jingheng to frantically amass wealth in Jiangnan. Finally, to silence everyone, he even poisoned me, a harmless woman, along with them. In this life, I will not only keep the Shen family's wealth, but I will also use his own wealth to buy his life. I rewrapped the ledger in oiled paper and tucked it into a secret compartment. Stabbing this directly to the emperor would be seeking death. The crown prince's reach is deep. Before the evidence reached the palace, our people would be rotting in mass graves. I walked to the desk and spread out a piece of fine yunlong paper. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. In the current court, the only one who can accept this gift without being consumed by it is the third prince, Prince Rue. In the past life, Prince Rue was framed by the crown prince during the struggle for succession, ending up imprisoned until death. But in this life, I have what he lacks most, money, and the crown prince's fatal weakness. I picked up my pen and wrote only one sentence on the letter. Yunzheng Silk House offers 5 years of profits for a single life. At the top of the capital, the letter, along with a copy of the ledger, was sent to the capital via secret channels. The price I offered was extremely high. Prince Rue could not refuse. He needed a vast amount of funds to recruit soldiers and bribe court officials, and I needed the power in his hands to tear down that lofty heir apparent. In the days that followed, the surface remained calm. Yunjiang Silk House's business grew larger and larger. But secretly, the Shin family's silver was flowing continuously to the capital, turning into Prince Rui's bargaining chips in the court struggle. 3 months later, on a certain morning, earth-shattering news arrived from the capital. In the Golden Throne Room, before all the officials, Prince Rui presented the ledger recording the Crown Prince's private treasury and ironclad evidence of his salt tax embezzlement. Not only that, Prince Rui also exposed the Crown Prince's collusion with local officials, extortion of merchants, and several major crimes like raising private soldiers. With the evidence indisputable, the emperor flew into a rage, overturning the jade table on the spot. The national treasury, which had been drained by years of continuous warfare, actually had most of its silver in the Crown Prince's private vault. With the intervention of the Court of State Ceremonies and the Imperial Guard, the Crown Prince's palace was raided. The gold, silver, and treasures filled hundreds of large chests, lining half a street. Ultimately, the emperor issued a decree to depose the Crown Prince, imprisoning his entire family without any possibility of pardon. The Crown Prince's faction was uprooted, and the once infinite power collapsed overnight. Prince Rui, for his service and for winning the people's hearts, was granted special authority by the emperor over salt and iron and imperial merchant status. He was now only one step away from the Dragon Throne. Xiao Jinghing is dead. Su Wan'er and that bastard child have also turned to dust. Even the Crown Prince, who controlled everything, has fallen into the mud. The blood feud from my past life is finally settled cleanly at this moment. Living a second life. Revenge is just a byproduct. Making a name for myself is the real goal.